asking yourself, what is percent yield? So percent yield is the quantitative measure of success of a reaction. So basically you're comparing what could happen, theoretically, just based on the numerical, quantitative chemistry. But then you actually go perform the experiment in the lab and you're going to get a different value than what could happen. So you use the percent yield equation, which we'll show you that, to figure out how much you actually got versus what you could have gotten. So this is the question that we're being faced with. It reads, what is the theoretical yield of KCl solid that could be produced if the reaction involves 10.0 grams of potassium solid and 7.0 grams of chlorine gas? If the reaction above produced 12.0 grams of KCl solid, what is the percent yield? So I've brought in some chemistry experts to help me solve this question so we can all be safe together from this natural disaster. So they've laid out a number of steps that we can follow. I'll show you these steps right now. The first step to solving our percent yield question is to balance the equation. And I'm going to show you our first chemistry expert who will help us with step one.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to figure out the solution for this problem. Now, we have the equation given. It's the formation of KCl using potassium and chlorine gas. Now, in order to figure out the percentage yield of KCl being produced, we need to have a balanced equation. And for that, we will need to put 2 moles with the potassium chloride and 2 moles with potassium so that we have equal number of moles for the reactants and the products.
We're on to our next step, which is to use stoichiometry to convert each reactant into grams of product. I'll now bring in my next chemistry expert.
Using the balanced equation and the molecular weight listed over here, we're going to convert grams of reactants to grams of products in order to solve this problem. Now we need to cancel out our units.
All right, guys, we've just completed step 2, and now we're on to step 3, which is to compare both yields. Whichever value is smaller is the theoretical yield. Now we're going to bring in our third chemistry expert to fill out this step for us.
Now that we have completed dimensional analysis, we can see that from the 2 values we calculated, this one is a lesser value, and therefore chlorine was our limiting reagent.
All right, thank you. We are on to our final step, which is to calculate the percent yield using this equation.
Now, we have everything in the equation except for the experimental value, and that is the mass of KCl produced when we did the experiment in the lab. And the value that we got was 12.0 grams of KCl. I'm going to write that down. Okay, so now we have everything in the equation that we needed. Experimental value, the theoretical yield, and so now we're just going to solve the equation. So I'm going to call my colleague Jasmine to solve this one.
And it's 12.0 grams of KCl solid. We are going to figure it out using this equation down here. Percent yield equals the experimental over theoretical. So we have percent yield equals 12.0 grams of KCl solid over the theoretical, which we got from our equations here in stoichiometry, 14.72 grams of KCl. Now, with these 2 numbers, we can calculate with my handy-dandy calculator.
Thanks to the chemistry experts, our lives are saved. Now we all know how to solve percent yield questions.